So today we're talking about self-awareness and flourishing relationships. Relationships don't work by mistake. All right? Relationships don't work suddenly. Neither do they fail suddenly. Relationships don't work by chance. No. There are principles to life, and any person who applies these principles always get the results, irrespective of your faith or your race or whatever it is. If you apply certain principles about life, you will get the result. All right. If you jump up, you will come down, because there's something called gravity that ensures that you come down, irrespective of who it is. You see, but the only way you can stay up is when you climb up. That way you have some support. You have something supporting your base. All right. So you don't have to fall down. But if you jump up, gravity will bring you down. The same thing applies in marriage. Chinyere, I see you. I see you. Great to have you here. You know, there are principles that make marriage work. Not everybody knows that there are things that you can do to get it right. Some people know, some people don't know. All right. But that is why we're here, to share as much as possible. I've been doing this for over 2 years now. And I mean, I'm loving it the more every time. Right. Some people don't know. In fact, 3 major reasons why marriages don't work or relationships don't work is that, 1, people don't know what they need to know. They don't know. The second reason is that they know, but they don't know how to. And then the third reason is what? First one, they don't know. Okay, first, they don't know. Second, they don't know how, and then the third, it just jumped off my head. I'll find it somewhere. All right. But the point is that people don't know. It's a knowledge gap. It's a knowledge gap most of the times. All right. So if you're here with us, do well to just stay around. And the conversations we're having today, whether you are single or already married, some of these things will be very, very useful, relevant, because we're going to be talking about you. We're going to be talking about some of the experiences in your life that you felt helpless about, and you didn't know how far they went in impacting the quality of person you have become. Auntie Vicky, I see you. Thank you so much, ma, for joining. All right. Auntie Vicky is a grandmother, but she's here almost every time. Thank you so much, ma. I really appreciate this. All right. All right. So I said we're talking about self-awareness, but so you see, sometimes it sounds very cliche when we talk about the need to be self-aware, when we talk about the importance of self-awareness in determining the kind of relationship you would have, whether it will be sweet or sour. You see, sometimes it sounds like cliche. Sometimes some people think, what does it really mean? But I want to try to break it down as fundamentally as possible. Okay, let me say a few things first of all. You see, people think that when they get into marriage, things will just now work out. I've seen people struggle in their relationships, over issues they refuse to resolve, and then went ahead to plan marriage. And when I tried to have conversations with them, they were like, no, it's just because we are still dating. When we get married, everybody will know that, this is marriage now. This is the real deal now. So we have to be serious. Listen to me. That mindset, that kind of thinking is wrong. Marriage does not automatically by itself change anything. As a matter of fact, any challenge unattended to and unresolved before marriage, oh my God, is coming back rejived in the marriage. By rejived, I mean rejuvenated, rejigged, like it's ready to. Why? Because now it's a completely different relationship. You see, no matter if you date for 10 years, when you marry, it is a completely different relationship. I have seen people have successful dating for 7 years, and when they got married, 2 months, they were out of the marriage. All right. When I say things like this, the idea is not to scare people. I'm just trying to let you understand the very important role that knowledge empowerment plays in the success of your relationship and marriage. All right. So that's it. Why is self-awareness important? Because just like the term goes, self and awareness. Awareness means level of information or knowledge about something. Okay. The question is, how well do you know yourself? Yes, you hear people say things like, I know myself, oh, that's how I am. Oh. No, I'm not just talking about the superficial knowing of yourselves. I'm not just talking about the things you do, right? How well do you know the causative factors that are responsible for the way you behave? Understanding this is very critical because it can, as a matter of fact, nip all of your conflicts and misunderstanding in your marriage. It can nip it in the bud. It can put an end to it. You will just suddenly discover that some of those things you used to react to, you didn't have to react to them. Some of those things you used to, some of those behaviors that were natural to you, you will just discover that, this is the singular thing that has been causing problem in my life since no more. And you would be surprised how quickly you can change those things. Oh yes. That's what knowledge does. That's what light does. You know, when you put on the light in a room, right? Darkness disappears. When the light shines on you in some of these areas, you will be amazed how easy it will be for you to be of a new behavior. I remember an interview someone had with Bishop Oyedepo and was asking how the secret to his successful marriage then, and if they were having marital crisis, and Bishop said no, and the person was wondering like, what's the secret to it, you know, and he told the person, I'm sitting on the chair with you right now, why are we not quarreling? And the person said, because we don't have to. He said, exactly. He said, because I'm not mad and I'm not stupid. All right. We can't just be here and then I just create problem when I am fully aware of everything that is going on. I'm saying this because in the same vein, when you have proper grasp of your consciousness of why you are the kind of person that you are, trust me, it will help you know how to identify the problems, the possible triggers, and you'll be able to avoid them entirely. So you do not have to experience some kind of quarreling and fighting in your marriage and relationship. You don't have to. Am I saying there will not be misunderstanding? No, that's okay. There can be misunderstanding because of the differences that you two share. But what I'm saying in essence is that the extent to which that misunderstanding will go in affecting or in destroying that relationship can be greatly minimized and even eradicated. All right. Misunderstandings are natural. They are normal. You should normalize it. As a matter of fact, you should be free enough in your relationship to have misunderstanding. In other words, I don't understand something that you did or something that you said. I'm not feeling it, or I didn't get the vibe, or I'm not getting it. You know, I just saw something, by the way, just before I came live. In the course of the day, there was time I went out to do something and I had to call my wife a number of times to reach her. One of those times, she sent me a message to say she was on another call, so I should perhaps send a WhatsApp message. I didn't even see it, and I was there calling, you know. But I just saw it when I was about to start this session because I just picked the phone and went through my messages and saw, oh, she sent me this message about 4 hours ago. All right. Now, something as little as that, you know, can cause a spark, can cause a quarrel. Like I was on the call now. Why you just kept calling? You know, why? And you're like, I'm your husband. I'm calling you. Why can't you answer me? Stop that call. Who is that call? Who are you talking to? Why can't you end that call and answer me? You know, little things like that can really cause issues. But it was not even a thing. When I came back, she didn't even say, you were disrupting my call. Or didn't you see the message? I said, no, it didn't even happen. You see why? Because there's a level of wholeness you will have. And you know what things to avoid. You know what things not to respond to. You know what things are not issues. You know how to give excuses for your partner. There is a lot of in-suffering that people are going through that make them to cause unnecessary problems to their partners. Oh yes, in-suffering, that's what I call it. A lot of suffering deep within. You know, a lot of dysfunction in within that a lot of people are not even aware of that make them to react the way they react. All right. And the essence of some of these conversations is to help you see the foundations, to help you see where some of these things started from, so that when you understand that, then you know how to fight it and how to put an end to it so that you can become a sweet person, right? A lovely person. Now, let me ask you guys, somewhere in your space, among your friends or maybe close relationships, I'm sure you know somebody that is troublesome, that is problematic, right? But at some point, these people will tell you, no, I know myself. I'm very gentle. I'm very peace-loving. It's just that if you give me problem, I will return it for you times 10. I'm sure you have somebody that you know like that. All right. And then I'm sure you also know somebody else within your space that has such a big capacity to handle stress, and that no matter how ruffled they are, you don't see them losing it. You don't see them, having outbursts of anger and mood swings and things. I'm sure you have you have these different characters around your space. What is the difference? What is the difference? All right. Now, what I'm saying to you is that you too can become that person who will be so gracious, so sweet, so lovable, all right, and so lovely to be around. You too can become that. But if you're the kind of person who has noticed that, some of your past relationships, don't seem to work, like there are certain things you struggle with, all right, I want to take you on this conversation so that we can identify some of those things that could be the reason, all right. One thing people need to understand is that you are first human, right, before you get married. You are first, as a guy, you're first man, you're first male, before you get married and become husband. Now, in the course of life, under normal conditions, after a while, you become father. All right. Husband and father are two different roles that you will get to play in your journey through life as a male. The same thing applies to you, the lady. You're a lady now, right? You're a female. And then at some point, you will become wife and mother. These two are roles that you would have to play in your journey of life. But what is fundamental, what is connecting the different roles is the fact that you are first male or female or human, basically. That's just what I'm saying. And what does that mean? That means that if this individual, this man, all right, does not take care of himself and become, a quality person, become a wholesome person, become a kind person, become a relationship material, and then better still, a husband material, if he does not become that as a person that he is, when he becomes husband, all of those bad behavior, all of those struggles, all of those weaknesses, all of those challenges, all of those issues in his life and all the baggage, he is taking them with him as a husband. The same person with time will have children, and then the role of fatherhood is introduced with the same issues, and of course with time many of those issues would have even increased, right? Because you have not yet learned how to eradicate them. So they are there, they are growing by the day, just the same way you're eating and growing. It's the same way those issues are being fed and they are growing. Do you understand? And then at the end of the day, this same person, this same individual with all of the baggage and all the negative, upbringing and issues in his life, this same individual becomes husband and becomes father. And guess what? He's going to be relating with the people in these new areas of his life with the same principles, with the same beliefs, with the same values, with the same behaviors that he had as an individual. And that is why many times people say marriage is difficult. People say marriage is hard. And I'm always quick to tell them, no, marriage is not hard. It is the individuals that are hard. It's the individuals that are difficult. It's the individuals that have problems. It's the individuals that are not humble enough to learn. It's the individuals that are quarrelsome. It's the individuals that are keeping grudges. It's the individuals who are unforgiving. It's the individuals who are unfaithful. It's the individuals, they are the ones who become husbands. They are the ones who become fathers. In the same vein is that same lady who becomes wife and who becomes mother. So you see what's happening is that those baggages that have not been addressed, you are now transferring them to the next generation. Because guess what? When you have your children, you are going to be raising them up just the way you are. Because guess what? Children don't learn from what you say. They learn from what you do. They learn more, let me put it that way, by observing you. So it's not like giving them instructions, telling them do this and then you're doing that. You tell the children that, oh, we must not tell lies in this house. But they see you receive a phone call and they say, where are you? You say, I'm coming, I'm just by the roundabout. And they're wondering, is this our house, a roundabout, or which roundabout? Do you understand? You are modeling lies to them. You're driving on the road and then you're still somewhere on the mainland and someone says, where are you? You say, I'm at Lekki phase 1 now. I'll be with you in 5 minutes. And they're wondering, is this place not Oshodi that we are in? Which one is the Lekki phase 1? You see, you are modeling lies to them where you tell them, hey, you people must say the truth. Listen, it does not work that way. At the end of the day, who they will become is what they have watched you, practice or model to them. So people carry these baggages and transfer to the next generation, and then you keep wondering why the family system is the way it is. All right. All of this I'm even saying, funny enough, is still like it's still like what you call it now, foundational. Let me get a little bit more into it. Now, when we talk about self-awareness, what I'm asking you is this: have you ever taken time to sit beside yourself and ask yourself questions about you? Why do I behave this way? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Why do I have these weaknesses? Have they always been there? Or did I pick them up at some point in my life's journey? Why am I attracted to these kind of people? Why don't I like to be alone? Why do I want to be always in the face of people? Why do I like to take favors from people to the point that it's choking me, but yet I cannot say no? You'll find this kind of people a lot in the workplace. Everyone keeps heaping their work on you because they know that you will do it. You will. She's so nice. He's so gentle. He won't say no, and they keep heaping their work on you. And you won't say no, and you're breaking down, and you're still taking it. Have you taken time to ask yourself, why am I this way? Have you even taken time to identify areas of your life that you feel like you're not really cool with? Now, let me ask you this question. When you think about, this is you. You know yourself, right? What are those areas that your best friend complains about? What are those areas that your colleagues complain about? What are those areas that people have complained about in the past? What are those areas that make you quarrel the most with people? Fabulous, I'll beat you. I've been pretending to not see your comments since. Oh my God. Feb is in class today. Please behave yourself. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, you need to ask yourself. And thank you for dragging Munchy Berry here, by the way. Munchy, I see you. All right, and I see you guys, all of you that have joined in while I was talking. I didn't want to break my flow, but this girl has successfully distracted me. But it's okay, we flow. Yeah. So you want to ask yourself. Now, these are very critical things because that's the beginning of self-realization. Why am I hot-tempered? There was a point in my life where, a lot of people may not even believe this. There was a point in my life where I used to be hot-tempered. Oh, yes. And sometimes you catch yourself doing stupid things. You find yourself doing foolish things. Why do I procrastinate a lot? Why am I so indisciplined? Let me tell you something. There are some people who are addicted to watching the TV, and then they could have an appointment. Maybe it's time to go to church, work, a meeting, something. And then there's this series that starts. And they're like, let me just see the beginning. And then they're standing by the door. They're about to go out, or they say, let me just stand and see, I will soon go. And then before you know it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the full episode has finished. Uche Solomon, I see you. Calm down. All right, Cheslo Furniture, I see you, yeah. Yeah, and then before you know, you're standing by the door, you have watched the 45-minute series. Now that episode 1 has finished, instead of you to step out and continue where you're going to, you now say, let me just watch the intro of episode 2. Before you know, you have watched 4 episodes standing by the door. Then you now say, hey, the meeting may have finished, so let me just run, let me just reach there. It's better late than never. Then you now show up, why are you like that? Have you taken time to ask yourself some of these things? What are those areas of your life that you yourself know, say, I know they try? Have you taken time to interrogate and ask yourself, why do I behave like this? All right. Now you will discover that there are many people who flee or who run away or who avoid having these kind of conversations with themselves. They avoid it. Oh, they avoid it. Oh, these are some of the people who don't want to be alone at any time. They don't want to think of anything serious. No, like just keep avoiding it. With time, maybe in my subsequent sessions, I will dig a bit deeper and tell you a little bit more about some of the reasons these things happen and the names that they have, because they have names. Psychologists have names for all of this kind of behavior, all right? You need to ask yourself questions. If you have had multiple relationships that failed, you want to ask yourself, why have these relationships failed? In what area was I responsible? What do I need to learn? What is the common factor in all of these relationships? Sometimes the relationships are failing simply because you have no business being in a relationship at this time of your life. You need to be able to ask yourself questions and then come to that conclusion that really, where am I even going to? So why I like man like this? Or ask yourself, why I like woman like this? Do you understand? But if you cannot come to terms with these conversations in the quietness of your own space, then listen to me. You have a very serious challenge and you need to come for therapy. Oh yes, you need to come, let's discuss or talk with any coach or any therapist around you. Let's help you. Because there's something fundamental you're running away from. Okay, so these are the things, this is the foundation I'm laying when I'm talking about self-awareness. All right, first, interrogate yourself. Ask yourself these basic questions. When you walk into a room, why do you always go to the back seat? But you are the ones who every morning you're making confession. I am the head, I'm not the tail. I am forward ever, backward never. But you enter class, you go to the back. You enter church, you go to the back. You enter vehicle, you go to back. Everything back. But your confession, you're saying front. Can't you see that your lifestyle and what you're saying they're incoherent? And you're wondering why you're still struggling. All right? Have you taken time to ask yourself, why am I drawn to these kinds of people? And I've always told myself I want to break this bad habit. But every time I see this person or that friend or that person, why can't I tell them no? What will happen to me if I say no? Why can't I try it one day? You want to have these conversations. You definitely want to have these conversations. All right? So the question is, who are you? Who are you? What have you understood about yourself? Who are you? You want to think about this. You want to ask yourself, who really am I? All right. And in defining this, there are two dimensions I like to bring this from, the physical and then the spiritual. All right. Now, from the physically, you want to trace it first to your earthly origin. Who gave birth to me? Where they born me? Right? Who are my parents? How was I raised? Who are the people in my immediate environment when they were raising me up? What were the activities peculiar to that environment? Do you understand? You want to start tracing it back that way, all the way to the origin. Because what you don't know is that you see this you that you are now, that you claim, I know myself, this is how I am. I don't do this, I do this, I don't. Many of the things that you think are the way you are, many of those things were subconsciously imprinted, or programmed into you by your upbringing, by your environment, by the experiences in your life. All right? It may not be the real you. Okay, let me give you this example. Do you know people who really are fun-loving people? They want to be out there, they want to engage, they want to, but in reality, or in practicality, they are withdrawn. They are timid. They want to go all out. They want to engage with people. They want to smile. They want to go to the parties. They want to. But even if you tell them, come, let us go to this place, they will drag feet, and before you know it, both of you are not going. What happened to those people? Something about upbringing, something about environment, something about these experiences that we're talking about has impacted on them. But guess what? These same people, you may notice at some point later on in their life, bam, they get that fire back. And then when you see them, you're like, you are different from the you we used to know. Is that not the girl we knew in school that was so quiet? Look at her right now, emceeing an event, and she's all over the place, and she's so on fire. And you're wondering, oh yes, something has changed. She has found that self back. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So basically, you want to trace it first to your earthly origin. The parents that gave birth to you. Let's analyze their characteristics or their behavior. What was your father like? What was your mother like? Did they relate together well? What were their good sides? What were their bad sides? Was your father the lion of the tribe of his house? Was his face like the face of God that cannot be beholden? All right? Is he the kind that at the sound of his horn, you flee and you tremble at his presence? Is that the kind of home you grew up in? Is your mother the type that when you misbehave in the afternoon, she wakes you up by 2 a.m. with hot slap, or with cane, or with koboko, or with hot water, or with a knife that they put in fire to give you a scar? What kind of upbringing did you have? You want to trace it back to that. And I'm saying that because what you don't know is that something about all of those experiences have contributed to the person that you are today. By God's grace, next week, I'll share certain things about the journey of life, right? From childhood through to from birth, infancy, excuse me, through to childhood, and then teenage and adolescence and adulthood. If God permits, by next week I'll just give you an idea of the journey of life, and you'll see how all of those experiences have connected. But be that as it may, I'll try to do as much as I can today. All right. So what I'm asking you, these are very serious things, and somebody needs to sit down and really, take these things, think them through one by one. All right. Let me see if there's a comment I need to take. Okay. Okay. I missed some comments as it was hot. No problem. Let me see. Why am I not seeing the comments in real time? I'm missing a lot of action. Okay, no problem. Let me continue. All right. So we're still talking about your parents or your immediate, your primary caregivers. Were they available? Was there a loving relationship at home? Do you know that there are some people who had their first ever loving experience as teenagers, some as adults? And when I say first ever loving experience, I'm talking about the first time ever somebody spoke to them with genuine affection, wanting to know how they were doing, wanting to help them in some way in their life without wanting anything in return. Some of them, the first time ever they experienced something like that was as teenagers or as adults. Let me ask you, what kind of person do you think that person will be in a relationship? You think they're the ones about to solve your problems? Oh no. When you say, women are complicated, no, it's not women that are complicated. It's humans that can be complicated as a result of the experiences in their lives. Have you not seen men that are complicated? Have you not seen men that you say, Unfortunately, the way society has so programmed us, when you see men like that, you not say, why just they behave like woman? Because you think it is a woman behavior. Listen to me, it's not a woman behavior, it's a human behavior. What you are seeing in those kind of people are people who haven't healed from the dysfunctions of their upbringing or the dysfunction of their upbringing. All right. So I'm asking you again, let's still continue on our journey. Your parents, what was the relationship like? Did you grow up with both of them, or was it with just one of them? How did the other one exit the scene? Did you never meet that one at all? Did you just hear stories about the person, or were they there at some point and then maybe life happened, maybe a divorce or death or a kind of separation? What is the story around all of this? I'm saying here that something about all of that experience is impacting on the kind of person that you are now. And as we continue, I will show you, but I'm still laying the foundation. All right. Now, let's expand it a little bit more. What about the other siblings in the house? What kind of relationship did you guys have together? All right. Was it the kind of home where you guys were always pitched against yourselves? where there was a lot of comparison and infighting and favoritism. What kind of home did you grow up in? Was there love? Was there fighting? Was there peace? I just remembered something now, as I was about the point I made earlier that some people did not experience love till adulthood. I remember one of my coaches saying that the first time his mother said to him, "I love you," he was already over 30. He was a full-grown man. By the way, there are parents who have never said that to their children, even if the children are 40, 50. Never. Like, it cannot come out. What is love? What has love got to do with it? You don't know that I love you. Did I not pay your school fees? Did I not feed you? What has love got to do with it? You see? And then that same person who never experienced love expressed from home, you end up wondering why this guy is so insensitive. You end up wondering why this guy doesn't know. Some men tell you proudly, "Me, I know myself, I'm not the romantic type. I'm not the romantic type." Okay, see, what you are announcing is that I have problem. I am dysfunctional. That's exactly what you're announcing when you're there announcing, "I'm not the romantic type." What you are saying is that I am dysfunctional and I have not healed from my dysfunction. Because as a human being, you are a relational and an emotional being. Let me emphasize it. As a human, you are a relational and emotional being. That means that you can be emotionally involved with your relationship. So why do people struggle? Why do people think that it's not something they know how to do? It's because they have been negatively programmed. And that is what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So, that thing that you're always bragging about, "I know myself." No. Me, if you just say one rubbish now, I will return it to you 5 times. You see that thing that you're proud about? It's a dysfunction. Something is wrong with you that you don't know. And you have been carrying that behavior everywhere and spoiling relationships up and down. And you think, "No, anybody that wants to marry me must just take me like this." Quiet. Become a better person. What is taking you like that? Will you take somebody that is like you? Will you take somebody that is like you? I know some people that are very troublesome in themselves. But when you hear the spec of person that they want for partner, I'll just be looking at them and say, wake up, my friend. As troublesome as you are, you want to marry a good person. All this is your trouble, so only one person should be suffering it. No, why can't you marry somebody like yourself? Do you understand this? So I'm saying this because you need to now see where all of those behaviors that you have been bragging about, that you have been proud of, you want to see where it came from. And then you may just discover that this is not the real me. I am better than this. I am better than this. I am loving. I am kind. Why do I struggle to show love to people? Why can't I receive love? They tell you, "I love you." I wonder, I beg, stop it, Joe. What is wrong? Something is wrong. Something is making your heart not able to receive love. Somebody says, "I want to take you out." You start imagining all the bad and all the negative things in your life. Something is wrong. That's what I'm telling you. People start drawing close to you and then you start pulling back. Why are they coming together? I bet they should stay away. I'm telling you that something is fundamentally wrong. Now, you may think you are okay because, you've grown through your life so far. You're in your 30s, your 40s, it works for you, But what I'm letting you know is that if you're in a relationship, right, that behavior will impede your expression. There are certain things your partner will be suffering and they may not be able to express it to you because they know that in that your pride, you would not hear what they're saying, you would not listen to them, and then you would turn it around and make them look like something is wrong. So they just keep quiet and sometimes they're just managing, but even that in itself is not a healthy behavior. Let me read this comment. Someone says, getting hurt in the past might make one doubt when true love is expressed. Oh yes, very true. That hurt is part of the emotional experiences that we're talking about. But then what you want to do is you don't want to stay hurt and then closing your heart to the possibilities of a genuine relationship. You want to be able to heal from that hurt. And what comes with healing is knowledge empowerment, where you're asking yourself, why did I get hurt? This thing that I'm even calling hurt, is it really a hurt? So let me give you an example. Let me just give you an example. There are people. Let me create a scenario. All right, a guy and a girl are in a relationship. Now, this guy is someone who, because of the negative experiences he had growing up, finds it difficult to trust people. And when I'm talking about negative experiences, I'm talking about from his childhood. There was never anybody there for him. He always had to figure out life by himself. All right. The only times people came close to him was because they needed him to help them do something. And after they were done with that, they were out, And then now he's getting attracted to a girl. All right. And he's saying to himself, after all my life, I've never been able to keep any friend close for a long time. So how am I even sure this relationship would work? I don't even trust this girl, but let me just be observing her. Let's just see how it goes. But take note that from the beginning, he's coming into that relationship with a prism of distrust and suspicion. Am I sure she doesn't just want something from me, right? Now, this same guy, one day, he'll call this girl and she won't pick up. He'll call her the second time and she won't pick up. Because he has always suspected that one day this girl will leave, all right? Already his mind starts telling him, hey, I said it. I wonder where she is now. I wonder who she's talking to. I wonder what she's doing. Why is she not picking my call? And then he starts calling, pa. And then before you know, he has dropped like 12 missed calls. And then she's not picking. All these 12 missed calls inside 1 minute, oh. You see how your emotions sometimes can make you behave foolish? Because instead of you to just wait, give it maybe another 5 minutes, give it another 10 minutes. If somebody did not pick your call now in this minute, how are you sure that it's in the next second they'll pick it? If they're not around the phone. So why not give them some time? But you see, in 2 minutes, somebody has registered almost 40 missed calls on your phone. Maybe it's exaggerated, but you get what I'm saying, right? And then you're wondering, guy, what happened now? I'm seeing so many missed calls. Is everything okay? And then they come to you with an attack. Let me continue that story about the guy. And then he's asking the girl, what's wrong with you? Where were you? And she said, I was in class. I told you I had class today. And he's like, which class? Put the phone on video. And his tone is already going. Now, he treats this girl like this once, twice, and she says, you know what? See, you're hurting me. Like, I can't continue. And then she breaks up. Now she's about to break up. He starts begging her, no, now, please now, but I really love you now. No, it's because I love you. No. And she says, no, you're toxic. I can't deal with this. Like, no, please go and sort out yourself. And then she leaves him. Guess what this guy will now start saying? Oh, girls are heartbreakers. I loved her. What did I not do for her? I was there for her. I even supported her this. I sponsored her through this. I did all of that for her. And then she left me. And then this guy is going to be hurt. And guess what? The next time another girl is trying to get close to him, he's going to say, oh, that's how they are. That's how these ones now. Before you know, they'll just be following other. You know, why? Because of the experience that he has had. Now, take note, for those of you who followed the story, what was really wrong in that relationship? Was it the guy or was it the girl? It wasn't the girl. It was him. But guess what? He can be hurt for another 5 years and not get into any other relationship, or not allow any girl get close to him, or starts taking it out on his new relationship. And then when you come to therapy, we're asking you what happened. You say, oh, I was hurt by this girl. I was hurt by my girlfriend. But when we start interrogating the issues, you will discover that that thing that you were calling hurt, it was actually created by you. Because in the real sense of it, if you were healthy in your emotion, you would not register that behavior of hers as hurtful. I hope you guys get what I was saying now. So the principle there is the fact that you would always see the world the way you are. That is why it's important you pay attention to the person that you are, the person you are becoming, because that is the lens with which you will interpret the world. So let me say this to you. Many of those times you said people hurt you. What if I tell you boldly that they didn't really hurt you, but it was your interpretation of the action or the event that made you feel hurt? Are you getting that now? You see, it is the way you processed it. You processed it in a disempowering way. You processed it as though it was against you. You processed it as though it was meant to hurt you. And then the feeling of hurt came. And then you attributed it to the person as though it was them. Meanwhile, they had no knowledge whatsoever about what you were going through at that point in time. And then they're looking at you wondering, why is this guy so hyper? Why is he so sensitive? Like, what's this? All right? I'm just trying to show you how that the experiences, the background you're coming from, can inform the lens with which you're viewing the world, and then you will think that it is the rest of the world that is annoying you. Meanwhile, it is something about the way you are looking at the world that makes you feel offended. All right. So when I'm talking about self-awareness, these are the things I want you to dig deep and interrogate. All right. So that you will be able to see the origin. And why do we always talk about the origin? Because many times, if you cannot find where it started, you won't be able to put proper closure to it. That's why I hear people say things like, I've been trying and trying and trying, and I don't seem to know what is wrong. I don't seem to know, how I can't find it, No, you may not be able to do it by yourself. That's why I'm always emphasizing, come talk to a therapist. Listen to me, if you're not yet in a relationship or you're not yet married, already in a relationship, please try and book a session with a certified therapist or somebody who knows what they're doing. Just book it, just book it first. Let's just check something. Why? Because there is a lot that you may find out that you're about to carry into that marriage that you don't need. I have seen marriages end that had no business ending. These things could have been worked out. But guess what? Both parties didn't know. They thought it was so deep. No, it wasn't so deep. If you had been humble enough to seek help, we would have extracted the issues, and you just see how that, no, this thing is not me trying to hurt my partner or my partner trying to hurt me. What they have behaved, or the way they have behaved towards me is just the level of knowledge that they have. And when we replace that old knowledge with new one, you just discover that this person looks like a completely different person. When that light shines on their understanding, you'll be amazed how quickly the transformation can be. I'm telling you, many of the habits that you think you can't break easily, you're just a revelation away from breaking those habits. Many of them. There are people who have been addicted to substance and they thought their lives would end with that substance abuse, until they came in contact with a revelation about themselves. Maybe they spoke with someone and then the person just showed them how great they were and how that by themselves they were about to end their lives. And they just discovered that, wow, I've been stupid. From that moment, some of them don't touch those substances again. Oh yes, what happened at that point? Light came. Revelation came. They just discovered, I'm better than this. I am more than this. Why am I trying to kill myself? I asked somebody one time, I said, if you're in a place and armed people come in and they're looking for you to hurt you, are you going to volunteer yourself and say, here am I, it's me you're looking for, take me? Are you going to do that? And she said, no. I'm going to hide, I'm going to dodge, I'm going to make sure that I'm safe. I said, okay. Now, would you take that gun or that knife, look yourself, look at your body, and start stabbing yourself and start shooting it? Would you do that? I was like, no, I won't do that. And I said, but what you are actually doing with this addiction is that every time you're indulging in this, you are taking the knife, cutting yourself, stabbing yourself to death. You are killing yourself slowly. And I asked the person, do you have any reason to want to be alive to old age? And he said, oh yes. Do you have any people in your life that you enjoy having them around and you think they genuinely love you and interested in your welfare? Oh yes. So how do you think these people will feel when a few months down the line, you call them to say, oh, I'm dying because of something that I'm doing to myself? And sometimes at that moment, their eyes pop open and they're telling you, you know what? I'm not doing this thing anymore. And from that moment, there was no going back. I'm telling you that habit you think cannot be broken, many times it's just a revelation, an insight, a knowledge empowerment away from finding help. And that's why I'm taking you back to the basics. All right. So we were analyzing the experience you had growing up and how those things have impacted. Now, do you know, let me just see if I can end with this. Let me give some examples of some things that people thought were normal, that were actually abnormal in their upbringing and somehow is playing out in their lives today. All right. When we talk about dysfunction, a dysfunction is something that is an abnormality. All right. It's not functioning the way it should function. It's not happening the way it typically should happen. Do you understand? Then we say that that's a dysfunction, something not operating properly or normally. All right. It's a dysfunction. Now, what happens is that many of us, as a matter of fact, almost all of us humans, in our growing up, have been programmed with a lot of dysfunction that both we and the people who were doing this to us knew nothing about. They didn't know how far it could impact us, but that was all they knew, and that was how they raised us up. So let me give you some examples. Have you seen people who are very brutal to their babies and toddlers just because the baby is always crying or always scattering the house, and then they are beating the baby, spank you, and then the baby's crying, and then, have you experienced that before? I'm talking about people who are even less than 1 year, or maybe 1 year, 6 months, or maybe 2 years or 3 years. Have you seen them being brutalized sometimes, because of something they're doing? That is a dysfunctional behavior. Because I don't know what else you're expecting a baby to do. I don't know how you are imagining that somehow that baby should behave like you, that is an adult, and keep the house tidy. When in their own world, in their own space, what is happening to them is that they are just learning how to interact with their world. They're just learning how to lift things up and drop it. It's exciting to them that they can pick this and drop it. Oh, that was how the other day my son picked my phone and smashed it on the floor, and I did not beat him. Why? Because he's learning how to relate to his environment. I know this thing while I talk now. Some people will say, backhand. Oh no. He is learning, and I'm excited about it. Do you get what I'm saying? But there are some people who will beat the living daylight out of that child. That is a dysfunctional behavior, because the child cannot relate that your action to anything except the fact that I am not wanted, I am not needed, this person doesn't like me, and I don't know what I have done to this person. He can't relate it to the fact that I did something that is, oh yes, he can't relate with that. So it's not discipline if the child cannot relate with the intent of your spanking. It's not discipline. You're just being, what's the word? Somebody give me the English word. You're just being nasty. You're just being a bad parent. If the child cannot relate the reason for this disciplinary measure to anything that he has done, and then does not see why it is detrimental, why that action was detrimental, or it was bad, or wasn't good, if he cannot join it together, then that thing you're doing is wrong. There are definitely better ways you can correct that child than that spanking or that level of spanking. Does somebody understand what I'm saying? But yet, many of us, that was how we grew up. That was how we grew up. And then before you know it, you see, by the time you're always beating that child for trying out things, you don't know that what's happening is that you're teaching that child to not be expressive, because they don't know the next thing they will do, that you will hit them. You're telling that child that they are not loved. You're telling that child that they are not wanted. You're telling that child that they are not important to you. You're telling that child that they should rather just keep anything they are thinking to themselves. And that's why you see some people from childhood, they're already withdrawn. They're withdrawn. They don't try anything. They don't try anything because it always comes back with a spank, with a beating, with abuses, with curses, with all manner of name calling. That's even another one. Some parents, oh my, a child of 2 years old, you are already heaping all kinds of names on them. Coconut head, big head, the hair word, this one, that one. The child pees on the bed, you start calling them, start singing for the old man like you. You are destroying their self-concept. Oh yes, that's what you're doing to them. And then many people have grown up having been raised by this kind of parents or through these kind of experiences. And you think that person is really normal out there? You're wondering that, I don't know why this person doesn't know how to be, he's so emotionally distant. Of course, he doesn't know what it means to be emotionally connected, because nobody ever connected with him emotionally in his life. Oh, by the way, that is another reason why some young men don't know any other thing to do with girl than sleep with her. Oh yes, because all through their growing up, they don't know what healthy connections are. They don't know what healthy emotional relationships are. So when they see a lady, all they see is an object for sex. A classmate of mine actually told me this on campus. He said, Mayzy, any girl you see that is in my room longer than 5 minutes, we are definitely having sex. He said, because I don't know what else I will be doing with a lady. The woman go there with me. We go to discuss. What will they discuss? Super story. What are we discussing? No, if I'm not sleeping with her, then she's not entering my room. That's what somebody is saying. Why? Because from upbringing, this person has been denied healthy emotional experiences. He doesn't know what it is to be friends without wanting something, without taking something in return. He doesn't know what it is to honor somebody else's principles and values and boundaries, because he never had one. He never had anybody value his own principles and boundaries and values. You see, these are examples of how some of this dysfunction are ending up raising people who are causing problems in relationship left, right, center. And every day people are crying, oh, relationship, oh, it's hard, love is scam. Love. No, it's not scam. It's that you have not been able to identify the root causes for why you are behaving the way you are behaving, and why other people are behaving that way towards you too. So let me give a few more examples before I finish. I talked about name calling and shaming, comparison. See your neighbor's child. Is it not the same 1992 they gave birth to two of you? See that one now, don't build. Okay, no, let me keep the comparison at childhood level. See that one, he came first in class. You are coming fourth. Is it not your mate that came third, second, and first? As if fourth is a bad position. You that is talking, you used to come 29 out of 30 in class. All right? But because this small child does not know, you are now just worrying their life. You start comparing them. Look at this. What about that? Look at this. Or you're comparing sister and brother, or brother and brother. And before you know it, you're wondering why, as adults, these two siblings cannot see eye to eye. Because from childhood, seeds of discord have been sown. And then they just see themselves as rivals, not as brothers. There are people who need help, and they are calling out to every other person but their family members. When you dig deep, what is the reason? Because from childhood, they were never taught that we are family. There is a bond we share. They were never taught that we look out for each other. We help each other. We share our belongings with each other. What I have belongs to you. What you have belongs to me. It is our common good. Many people were not taught that. And then this person gets into a relationship as an adult, and you are wondering, where do you think they will suddenly pick up those qualities? Where will they suddenly pick it up? Many times, what people are living out in adulthood is the effect of their dysfunction and their traumas. But because they don't know it, they think it is normal. No wonder Pastor Kingsley will always say, is your normal? That thing you're calling normal, is it really normal? Is that the way normal is supposed to be? The person who grew up in the home where they were always shouting, always yelling, sees it that it is normal to yell at people when you are angry with them. That kind of guy will get into a relationship and be yelling at his girlfriend. I would not understand why she says that she's angry, that he's yelling at her. In fact, he will be angry that she is angry that he's yelling. You say she does not have respect. Why? Because in the house where he grew up, every time the father is yelling at the mother is quiet, she's sober, she's sorry, she's begging. Oh, she's entirely at the mercy of the man. And then he expects that this 21st century girl that is in a relationship with now, that did her master's in UK and came back and is working in one correct company, he's expecting that when he talk, that she will just tremble and say, my husband, I'm sorry. Something is wrong with you. She didn't grow up like you. No, she didn't. You see, these are examples. I could go on and on, but I think it's almost my time. These are examples. There are so many. I tried to write some of them down. Oh, what about withholding affection? What about parents who withhold affection from children? They say, no, it's a boy child. I want him to be a man. I don't want him to, life is not soft. So how you go to hug man? No, leave him. Why are you crying? You're a man. Clean your tears. And then you're teaching that child to suppress their emotions. You're teaching that child that men don't cry. Who told you that? You're teaching that child you're teaching them to live a fake life. So when something really hurts them deeply, they're not going to open up. They're not going to talk about it. Why? Because you will tell them that they are men and they're supposed to suppress their emotions. See, that one is crying like a woman. Who told you it's only women that cry? Who told you that? You see, those are some things that people grew up with. They did not experience that affection. Parents withheld it from them for one reason or the other. Or is it those who only got gifts in the house when they did certain things? The only time you get a reward is when you come first. All you're learning is that love is transactional. You need to do something to get something. The only time you get meat in your plate is that you woke up early in the morning and you swept your portion and you swept extra. That's the only time that you get commended. What you're teaching them is that if I want people to notice me, I always have to try to go the extra mile so that they will notice me. Now, that person will grow up becoming a people pleaser, trying to always go the extra mile so that they will notice him, so that he will get reward, so that, and they will keep struggling like that. They won't know that, no, it doesn't have to be that deep. I'm acceptable the way I am. I'm lovable the way I am. You see, let me go over some more examples, even the ones that look good. Overprotectiveness. Maybe I'll close with this one. Overprotectiveness. Both to the boy child and to the girl child. No, I don't want my child to go anywhere. No, I don't want anybody to mingle by all these people. I don't even know them, or I'm suspecting them. No, I don't want my child. I don't know them. Then that child grows up not having friends. Primary school, you go to pick him up from school one day and you see him playing football with his friends, and then you call him, who is that boy? Who is his father? And I not told you not to be playing with all these people. That's how they'll go and poison you. That's how they'll go and do this. Please. And then you are cutting him off all the relationships in his life in a bid to protect him. Students are going on excursion. They say, why not bring Junior for excursion? They say, no, my son will not go anywhere. No, I don't even know where they're taking them to. I beg you. Meanwhile, I'm not saying you should not be careful. I'm not saying you should not be cautious, right? But a case of extreme protectiveness, you're not giving them time to breathe. You're not giving them time to interact with the world. Then guess what? This child gets admission to the university. Parents, you will carry them in your car, drive them to school, carry them to admissions office, sort out their admission, sort out their hostel, sort out course registration. You will sort everything out for them and then now leave them at that point. And this is the first time ever in that child's life or in that adult's life that they will ever have to face life by themselves. They don't have any courage. They don't have any experience in leadership. They don't have any experience of what it means to struggle, what it means to fail. They don't have any experience of absolutely nothing because they have been under your care, your supposed protection. And then for the first time ever, they are exposed to the world. Many times, those children don't come back as that good boy they were in the house or that good girl. Why? One, the excitement of freedom alone can destroy that person. Now, there's no father, there's no mother. I can do absolutely what I want. They don't know who is good friend. They don't know who is bad friend. So friend will come and say, let's go to this place. Let's go to that place. They will follow because they don't even know what life is like. They don't know how to cross road, because they never had the chance to cross road before. They don't even know what it is to go to the neighboring local government, talk less of neighboring town, talk less of travel. But then guess what? Their friend is going to tell them, I have a friend doing this party in so place. We'll come together. It's going to be a lot of, go on and on with all of these things. But I'm just letting you know that some of those things that you grew up with were actually dysfunctional. And you thought that you are just normal. So when we're talking about self-awareness, this is the dimension I'm taking it first. All right. And for those of you who were here earlier, I was saying that you need to do a lot of introspection. You need to sit beside yourself and start asking some of these questions. You will get to some points where you may not be able to answer by yourself, and then you want to seek a therapist. Right? You want to engage someone. I mean, time will fail me to share of people who found out those aha moments, who discovered that, this thing happened to me when I was 4. I still remember it vividly. And that thing that happened when they were 4. The person I'm talking of is somebody who is maybe 39. And that is the first time they're coming face to face with that dragon that has been there and affecting their lives and affecting their interhuman relationships, affecting their relationship with their loved ones, affecting their relationship with their partners. And they're just finding out at 40. Let me tell you, many times, these dysfunctions, cage people. At the point they were at that age, right? It cages them there. So you see people who are still 40, but behave like 9. You see people who are 50, but behave like 13. You see people who are 35, but behave like 5-year-old. Why? Because at the fundamental point where their brains were being developed, those were the programming that came and they were stuck in that programming. And from that point till the rest of their life, they interpreted every growth and every experience of life against the backdrop of that dysfunction. Let me stop there for now, but not because I have gotten anywhere close to the end of this. I'm just scratching the surface. If you have listened to me and you can relate with what I'm saying and you feel like you want to talk to somebody because you kind of need help, I would reach out, send me a DM. All right, send me a DM, let's discuss. But these things are very critical because you want to be able to find that and deal with it so that you give yourself the opportunity to become this new person, to reinvent yourself, to get out of those hurts for once, to heal completely, to put closure to that life that has been dragging you back. Oh my, time will fail me to share of how people just find out at some point in their 20s that the experiences they had at 12, at 9, that lesson teacher, that cousin, that auntie, that uncle, this thing they did to me, and how it has affected them. All right? That is the beginning of self-discovery. And I want you, if you're not in a relationship, take time to engage in this self-discovery. Find yourself, not the self you think you are right now. Let's go back and see that original person before all of these influences started happening. Let us even see what those influences are. See if we can remove those influences one by one, and let's see what we will be left with. That beautiful soul, that fresh you, that new you, that real you that has not been corrupted by all of these experiences. All right? And then you'll be amazed how from that moment, your view of life changes, your relationships with people changes, and then you just discover that now you can receive real love. Oh my, how many people have driven away true love because of their own fears and insecurities? How many people have chased away relationships that would have been their God sent, in quote, because of their own insecurities and all of their own baggage? All right? You'll be amazed how you start attracting the right people in your life. Let me close with this. You wonder why all the boys, as a lady, you're wondering why all the boys that are coming around you, the only thing they want to do is sleep with you and get out. It's something about all of these things we're talking about. It's something about the vibe, the energy that has been created around you as a result of all of those things from the past and what you have come to believe about yourself. Listen to me. The moment you are able to catch the revelation about the real you, you'll be surprised how it would sieve out all of those people, not because they will stop coming, but you will now have the strength to know how to respond to them, and then you will start attracting the real valuable and quality people into your life. Let me close with this. All right, I hope it's been a good use of your time, guys.